All right, everybody. Welcome to Project 3. We are doing a negative space in logo design project. This is going to be a 2-week project. It's going to be fast and furious, but there is, it's much less complex than a lot of the other projects we've been doing. We've been working on big understanding branding and developing companies and understand all that goes into thinking about a company and their customers and their needs. And we've been creating brand books to have other people understand how to do the logo. We're not doing that for this project. This is going to be just about understanding how to design a negative space logo. We're just going to focus on the logo for this one and not all the other branding elements. So, what is a negative space logo? It's known, negative space is also known as white space. It's the area around and between elements. In logo design, negative space can be strategically placed so that you create a secondary image. So you have different images and different meanings that complement the primary design elements. So sometimes you can see more than one element within the design. So in order to do this, we use the principles of Gestalt theory in negative space design. How many of us know the Gestalt theory? How many of you have heard that before? Any hands? I don't know if I see your hands actually doing this screen sharing. Maybe I don't. Oh yeah, I do. Okay, I see. Joe. Joe's heard of it. Anyone else? Anyone else heard of Gestalt theory? Well, let's go over it. Not a worry. I'm here for you. So let's go to key principles relevant to negative space logo design. So there's the figure ground relationship, closure, continuity, proximity, similarity, and pregnance, which is good form. Let's talk about what each one of these means. So the first one is the principle of figure-ground relationship. The figure-ground principle, a core concept in Gestalt theory for psychology, describes how our brains perceive elements as either objects of focus on the figure or the background. This principle is also known as multi-stability, a fundamental to visual perception and design. Who can tell me what are the two images you're seeing in each one of these examples? You can just turn your mic on. Anyone?
A gorilla and a lion for the tree one.
Gorilla and a lion for the tree one. Right. And what else? There's one more.
Two people and like a cup.
Right. Two people, two faces face to face at a cup. But in the gorilla lion, there's actually more.
There are a couple of dolphins in the bottom. Or are
That's
they
right. There's
fish?
fish. I think they're just fish, but there's fish in the bottom. In the
Bird.
tree that, go ahead.
Birds on the top.
That's right. There's birds flying off the top. And then there's like a tree frog in the tree up here. So there's like a lot of little things. And honestly, I'm surprised they didn't actually make all of these little animals, but yeah. So you've seen this kind of images before, probably this cup with the two faces. How many of you have seen that before, right? And they kind of do these like psychological, like, what do you see first, the faces or the cup? You know what I mean? Like you've seen those maybe on the internet. I don't know what it's supposed to mean, but it's the principle of figure ground relationship. Principle of closure. The Gestalt principle of closure describes the tendency of the human visual systems to complete the shape, right? So you have missing parts, but we still can see what? What can we see in these images? The 4 small circles or one big one on this first one? The 5 black shapes, or do you see a panda bear? 3 curves or a full black circle, right? So we complete the shape. That's the principle of closure. Principle of continuality, oh my gosh, I don't know why I can't say this today. Continuity, there it is. Continuity is also known as continuation, right? It suggests that our brains perceive elements arranged in a line So are we seeing lines or are we seeing dots when we look at this, right? It's the visual perception guiding the user's eye to the way we want them to see it. So in this example, we're using color. So the color is acting as a line, even though they're all made of dots, because the dots are being highlighted in such a way as to tell us where they want us to look. So do they want us to look straight across? Do they want us to look over the arch? Do they want us to look at just the arch? Or do they want us to look at just under the arch? So that is the principle of continuity, and it's making us, directing us on how we want to see something. Now we have the principle of similarity, and it states that our brains tend to group elements that share visual characteristics. So right now, looking at this image, we're grouping the circles as a line, a column. The triangles are in a column. We're reading columns, columns of circles, columns of triangles. We're not reading across in rows. We're reading in columns. However, if I color one of the rows, now we're reading in rows because color is so strong. It is very powerful. It's forcing us now to not think of these as circles and triangle groupings. We're now looking at the color blue as a grouping. So that's the principle of similarity. The principle of pragnance or good form is known as the law of good figure or simplicity. It states that people perceive and interpret ambiguous or complex images in the simplest, most organized way possible, striving for a clear and stable gestalt. So we're really looking at not at these complex intersections in the Olympic rings. We're looking at the overall symbol of good form. So we understand it. Or you can also think of like the Audi logo, right? Is part of the principle of pragnance. So things like that. Here's some examples of big brands that use these symbols of gestalt. Who can tell me what you're seeing in the negative space? What happens with the FedEx logo?
There's that arrow between the E and the X.
That's right. The arrow between the E and X. What else are we seeing? Even though the shapes aren't all connected in the World Wildlife Foundation, we know it's a panda, so it's using the law of closure, right? The Guild of Food Writers. What's happening in the Guild of Food Writers? What are the two symbols that are being connected?
You see a spoon and a pen nib.
That's right. A spoon and like kind of a metal pen nib, an old-fashioned metal pen nib. And of course, Girl Scouts, Brian has it on the chat here, two faces in the Girl Scout logo. Actually, I see three faces, I'm going to say. I see a green one and two white ones. And the newest Girl Scout logo, I don't know if any of you are Girl Scout cookie buyers, they've no longer, they use this logo. They just use the shield or the little clover shield. They no longer use the one with the faces. I was so sad to see that after 50 some years, they've gotten rid of this version of the logo. I think that's a crying shame. I agree. It's like, what? I can't believe you got rid of this logo. So this logo is no longer in existence. It's just now the shield without the faces.
I have a question about that.
Mhm.
Um, when they would do something like that, is that maybe so it could work better shrunk down to say an icon for an app on a phone or something?
Well, you know what? I could see that. And I could even see them simplifying it to maybe two faces versus all three, or using the shield alone just for those kinds of applications. But still, when you use it big, use the faces. You know what I mean? I think it's strong enough and recognizable enough because it's been over 50 years that they could get away with using both. Yeah. They also changed the typeface, the font in the new one. The font is new, and then they got rid of the faces. It's a shame. Shame, shame, shame. So You guys see these all the time. So here's what we're doing. Our project brief. We're going to do a personal negative space monogram. What we're going to do is combine a letter form of the first name and our last name. Excuse me. So for me, it would be AD. And we're going to use negative space to tell a story about ourselves. We're going to incorporate something into those letter forms that are going to tell a story about us. And it can be anything about us. It could be something about that we care about. It could be our passion. It could be an interest. It could be a hobby. It could be anything. But we need it to be something relevant. It can't just be random. So it's probably not going to be an arrow, for example. You know, it's going to be something that's telling a story about ourselves that that we can communicate. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be, there's no, it can be blue sky, anything that is relevant to you, but it has to be relevant to you. So I think the only thing it's not going to be is, like I said, an arrow or something that is a little more benign. It needs to have some kind of meaning. Okay, so let's look at, let me pull over. Let me pull over this and go into our assignments and walk us through the assignment sheet real quick. Oh, I hit it. So let me turn it on, make available. Now you all should be able to see it and follow along. So this is going to be basically a 2-week project. Today I'm introducing it. It's going to, we're going to do the concept development and initial design. Next week is going to be refinements and finalization, and it will be due when we come back on week 13. So let's look at the assignment. Here it is. So the objective is creating a negative space logo using your first and last initials that reveals something meaningful about yourself through strategic use of negative space. So it's a 2-week project schedule, and I've really tried to break it down into what happens each day. And when I say days, these are the class days. So I'm indicating these are the class days. There's 4 class days that we'll be doing this. And then what has to happen in homework between each of our class days. So introduction to the project and examples, research and inspiration gathering. We're going to begin brainstorming personal symbols and initial sketches. We want to do at least 10. In-class check-in, brief discussion of initial concepts. So we're going to have time today to get started on this. So we have an hour and 15 minutes to kind of really get going, a good hour at least to get working on this. Our homework between today and Tuesday will be to develop 20 thumbnail sketches, exploring different combinations, experiments with various typefaces for your initials, select 5 most promising concepts, refine selected concepts with more detailed sketches. And we're going to look at all of this sketching and concept work on Mural. Day 2 will be Tuesday. So that will be in-class critique, presenting our refined sketches. We're going to receive your peer feedback. We're going to select 2 to 3 of our strongest concepts to develop digitally, and we're going to begin our digital rough drafts in class. Our homework for Tuesday will be complete digital rough drafts of selected designs, refine the relationship between positive and negative elements, ensure both letters and symbols, symbolic elements, oh, I'm missing a hyphen there, are clearly recognizable. Test designs on black and white to ensure clarity. So we're going to then move into week 2 refinement and finalization. That will be Thursday. Next week, Thursday. In class will be a check-in presenting our digital roughs and drafts, receive instructor and peer feedback, and begin refinements based on feedback. Let's go to the next. Wait, where's the second page? Oh my God, did it just save the one page? Oh my goodness. Let's open it up in InDesign. Clearly it did not save the whole assignment for some reason. This is the second page. I don't know why it didn't save it. So I will resave it. I don't know what happened. Let me turn off the grids though. Where is the, oh, it's already gone. Okay, good. So then our homework will be make final refinements based on feedback, complete mock-up showing your logo and application, prepare final files for project. So the basic thing is we're going to be working in Illustrator. Single color. These are all going to be single color. It's one color project. The components must contain your first and last initials, and it must incorporate symbolic elements that reveal something about you. We're just going to do these as vector format. We're going to mock them up showing an application or context. So we could put them on a tote bag, a coffee mug, whatever, as if we're doing monogrammed initialed design. And that's really for your portfolio. You're going to write your explanation, your design rationale. Make sure you post all your process on Mural and keep all your sketches, iterations, refinements on that Mural board. We'll be putting them on Blackboard. And of course, always use your name filing using last name, first name, negative space logo. So that is the assignment. And I will put the full page, 2 pages up on Blackboard. Sorry, I don't know why it didn't save correctly when I saved it. I didn't realize that. That's why we do this. We figured out. So let's chat and see whatever questions you might have about the design.